All right, welcome to my Epics Buddies. This is not a podcast. This is another special edition. Want to just give you some news before you start your day? Well, some of you have already started your day, I imagine, being that it's 9:30 on the East Coast. But here on the other coast, it's about to be 6:30. So this article came out. This is my FX Buddies, the blog, all that stuff. Give me a thumbs up right now. You're gonna like this. And you may want to share. Okay, so this, there's two versions of the same article. I'll just get into it. But look at this. Sudani. Yes, it says Sudanese, but I think we all know by now that's Sudani, and for some reason his name translates to that, right? So he says, exchange rate reform in Iraq should be an example of commitment and confidence. But before you get too excited, like I did, this article first came out on a website that I have to do 3 things to get to. So after I did that, it came out. It's everywhere. This is obviously, it's an article they want the citizens to see because it's everywhere. Even in the less exciting form, it's still the one they want people to see. Okay, so let's get into it. So here's people he's meeting with. Sudani has a room full of people, and I believe, this guy right here is his speaker, Basham something. He's the one that speaks on his behalf. So, according to Prime Minister Sudani on Tuesday, the currency reform in Iraq should be an example of commitment and confidence. Sudani received, now see here it says will receive, but all the other articles are in past tense. Sudani will receive today a delegation from KPMG. I forget what that stands for, but we know who that is, right? An international financial audit and consulting firm during the ongoing protests. And okay, I don't know what that is. Weird translation, right? So already as I was reading it, I was like, I might have to find another translation of this. But let's go on. The press office said in a statement, the company's cooperation with the Iraqi Monetary Authority guarantees the government's efforts to enhance the transparency of its operations and maintain the financial reputation of Iraq. Sudani pointed out that monetary reform in Iraq should serve as an example of commitment and confidence, and the role that financial audit companies play in the government's pursuit. The government is looking forward to several strategic partnerships with these companies through the credibility of the Iraqi state institutions, international finance and economics complex. And that is, those are capitalized. International finance, economics complex, for those who are just listening, you're not reading along. Those words are all capitalized. Iraq is committed to implementing the government's financial and spending reform program and has played a role in improving financial classification and raising the confidence of international companies. He said, it is a great achievement in the implementation of compliance standards and the fight against money laundering and the transition to the latest electronic accounting system. He stressed, we're almost done, he stressed the importance of using the company's expertise and the structure of public companies to promote operational efficiency, public religious administration, possibly another weird translation, I don't know. But religion plays a big part in their whole life, not like us here, right? But, some of us, I should say some of us here. technical and legal advice specialist in contract formulation. Jeez Louise, let me say that again. Technical and legal advice specialist in contract formulation for large strategic projects. They're going to need that, right? The government supports the efforts of the Central Bank of Iraq and the Iraqi Bank for Commerce, which is the Trade Bank of Iraq. But again, this is a different translation. In the technical coordination agreement with KPMG to ensure the speedy completion. We like that. And in the other article, it says accelerated completion of due diligence and compliance according to international standards, the timetable for the issuance of final expenditure accounts. He stressed that the government emphasizes transparency and financial issues as fundamental pillars in construction. Okay, for those who are not looking, you're just listening, there's some words here that did not translate. So I asked myself, why didn't this translate? So I found another translator, same article, same link, everything, right? The phrase right there that didn't translate, this is what it translates to: the modern national economy. So, to finish that, the government emphasizes transparency and financial issues as fundamental pillars in construction of the modern national economy. And that's what they want, right? They want a modern national economy. They want to get away from the rentier, right? Which is they get money from only oil, and they want to move to a modern economy. All right, so I was forced. I was like, I gotta look up a different. So the only thing different is where it said up here, it said currency reform, or sorry, exchange rate reform. And then here it says currency reform right there. It says banking reform. And so we know, aren't they reforming the banks so they can reform the currency? So I'm liking this either way, right? I think this is good. And we needed this, right? After all these days of quiet, this comes out. So yeah, so it pretty much says exactly the same thing. There's one little bit. Modern electronic reporting. I wanted to see, the wording's just a tad bit different. Here it says specialized technical and legal consultations in drafting contracts for major strategic projects. But in the other one it said formulating, right? Which I couldn't get out. So I think it's exactly the same thing. It's just in these other articles it says banking reform. Oh, it's her birthday. Okay. Forgive me. I'm listening to something. All right. Let's see. So, and see here it says Trade Bank of Iraq instead of Iraqi Bank of Commerce. KPMG. Oh, accelerated. Where's that word? Well, we passed it. Financial accountability to be a fundamental pillar in building a modern national economy, right? Okay, so this came out also. This is good. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I just wanted this to be a short thing, but the link, so if you follow me on Twitter, I'm going to tweet it, and the link will be in the description box. And right now it'll just be on YouTube. But anyway, parliamentary warning about the banking reform paper. It made Iraqi money captive to foreign banks. Now why, sorry, it's morning, you just gonna hear the four-legged roommate. She's outside, she's happy to be outside. Alright, so mainly the focus of this, so it's a member of parliament, but he points out the banking reform paper, it came from America. Noting that this paper came with American controls and placed Iraqi money at the disposal of foreign banks. He goes on to say the controls and instructions were from the U.S. Federal Reserve and was sent from Washington to Baghdad. Because I don't know about you, but when I think of the Federal Reserve, I think of it as being in New York, right? Because is that mainly where the building is? I don't know. Because they're building that other building, right? So, I don't know, but whatever. I just, you know me, I always gotta throw in weird stuff. Okay, so, so that talks about how we put the emphasis on those other banks, Jordanian, Emirati, Bahraini, and Kuwaiti banks, to make sure they're fully capitalized at 400 billion dinars. And we didn't do that for the Iraqi banks. So, yeah. Read that. Check that out. And, I'm not really excited about that. Oh, here. In case you don't read it. Here's the point. So, you know how I'm waiting to hear what happened with the deadline? The banks that were given a deadline actually to get up to 400 billion in capital. Listen to this. The Central Bank of Iraq had a set of package of standards for reforming the banking sector, most notably increasing capital to 400 billion dinars before December 31st, 2025. So, maybe they've been given another extension to December, but I don't think that's a bad thing. And the way that I'm choosing with my Dinar goggles on, and it's optimistic October, the way that I'm choosing to look at this is, if they change the rate and then they do the exchanges and business is flowing and they pass the laws and all the investment comes in, those banks will easily be able to get to 400 billion dinar capital, right? So, yeah, so I like that. So there will be a longer, believe it or not, there's even more. So I will do another, a regular post later in the night. But like I said, I think this is really good news. Something to get your day going on a positive note. So enjoy your day, accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Hit that thumbs up button. This one you may want to share, I don't know. But so we'll see what the day brings. Take care.